Hello everyone and welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan, and in this episode we got the latest box office numbers, as well as some updates on films already in development. Let's start with the domestic box office. Opening in first place is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with 71 million. Dropping to second place is Morbius with 10.2 million for a total of 57 million. In third place was The Lost City with 9.1 million for a total of 68.8 million. Opening in fourth place was Ambulance with 8.7 million. Fifth place was The Batman with 6.5 million for a total of 358.8 million. And in sixth place was Everything Everywhere All at Once with 6 million for a total of 8.4 million. So let's start with Paramount. They again continue to have a very successful 2022 with now their biggest opening of the year thanks to Sonic. Not only that, but it debuted above the first one back in February 2020, which made 58 million in its debut. Audience reception has been strong as well, so I expect us to have a good run in theaters, looking at least 175 million domestic when it finishes, possibly even 200 million. The highly expected third film in the franchise is going to do better numbers than this, and I can easily see an $80 to $90 million opening weekend for it, whenever it comes out. The Lost City also continues to do well, and will be able to finish around 75 million domestic. For Paramount now, they get to relax for a few weeks, soak up their success, and get ready for the next film, Top Gun Maverick, for Memorial Day weekend. Now for Sony, who did not have a good weekend. No. While Morbius started out with a solid opening weekend, the negative word of mouth did affect it, and it did, dropping 74% from last weekend. That makes it one of the worst second weekend drops for any comic book movie ever. At this rate, 100 million domestic is basically off the table, but there's still a chance for a $75 million finish, and depending on the worldwide run when it's finished, Sony will likely still make a profit off the film. It just makes getting a sequel a bit more difficult. If I was them, I'd pull the trigger on a Sinister Six film or whatever they have planned. Morbius 2 is not going to do well. Universal and Michael Bay also did not have a good weekend with Ambulance. The action film had a normal wide release, with it being in 3,412 theaters, and also got good word of mouth from audiences, but still, it was stuck with a sub-$10 million opening. It has become the worst opening for Michael Bay. The one benefit the studio has is the film only cost $40 million to make. So over time, it'll make a profit, but if I was them, I'd still be disappointed. The idea of it being $40 million should mean a better chance of making a lot of profit off of it, not just barely making anything off of it. For A24, Everything Everywhere All at Once is performing really well. It got great reviews, great word of mouth, and it made $6 million in its expansion to wide release, but only to 1,250 theaters. Due to this, A24 has said that they will continue to release it in more theaters over the next few weeks. Taking a look at China, where, as it has been the past few weeks, the box office has collapsed. Opening in first place is The Secrets of Dumbledore with 9.7 million. Moving up to second place was Hotel Transylvania Transformia with 1.4 million for a total of 6.2 million. In third place is Escape Room 2 with 1.4 million for a total of 5.2 million. Fourth place was Moonfall with 900,000 for a total now of 19.4 million. Lastly, in fifth place was Man on the Ledge, which made another 600,000 for a total of 3.9 million in previews. The film's full release is this upcoming weekend. So what happens to China's box office now? I don't know. The Secrets of Dumbledore is the last big Hollywood film to come out for now, and for Chinese films, besides Man on the Ledge next weekend, there is nothing noticeable coming up. It's likely very few films will be released over the rest of April and possibly into May as the country continues to battle its latest wave of COVID. Now looking at worldwide numbers, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 made another 37 million internationally to bring its worldwide total to 141 million. The Secrets of Dumbledore opened in other markets besides China this weekend, including the UK, Germany, and made 56.9 million in its opening weekend. That's a decent start, but ideally for the film to be somewhat successful, it's gonna need at least 400 million worldwide, ideally $500 million. Morbius made 15 million internationally for a worldwide total now of 126.4 million. Ambulance made $2.8 million for a total of $31.2 million. The Batman made another $7.6 million for a worldwide total of $736.1 million. And finally, RRR has made $132 million worldwide. There's quite a bit of news in Hollywood this week, so let's start with casting announcements. The Barbie movie from Warner Brothers is starting to finish up casting and has added quite a number of people. The cast, headlined by Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, will now include Kate McKinnon, Simu Liu, Scott Evans, and Will Ferrell. While this is not a cast megaton like Oppenheimer, this is becoming a pretty big cast, especially for a Barbie film. I do hope it's good because either all these stars see something here, or they're just being paid a lot of money, or both. I really can't wait for the first trailer to come out just so I can get a better idea of what this movie is. The other noticeable casting announcement was from Vin Diesel, who announced that Brie Larson has joined the cast of Fast 10. It was not made clear what character she would be playing, but if I had to guess, she would be a new ally, likely a federal agent, to fill in for Hobbs. You'd have her as backup, and Jason Momoa obviously as the antagonist. She's a good pick for the film, as she's a solid actress. For me at this point, though, for the franchise, what I really care about is just where do they go for the last two films. Not really caring how much star power they can put in them. Variety has the exclusive on this next story, and that is a new film in development based on everyone's favorite part of Halloween, Spirit Halloween. Made by a smaller film companies, Hideout Pictures and Particular Crowd, the film is supposed to be a family one and stars Christopher Lloyd and Rachel Laycock. The film has already been produced and is set to be released this October, though it is not clear if it will be on streaming or in theaters. And yes, very important for the film, they did secure the rights from Spirit Halloween. It would be awkward if they couldn't. Now, this is not a big film, but I put it in here because it's such an odd idea for a film. But hey, as strip malls become declined over the past 20 years, Spirit Halloween has become a staple of the holiday, at least for America. So a film at some point, I guess, was inevitable. Another exclusive from Variety, and that is what the first big change for Warner Brothers might be now that they have merged with Discovery, and it's splitting off DC. That's not to say DC gets sold. Oh, no. Instead, CEO David Zaslav cares about DC characters a lot, specifically Superman, and is reportedly not happy that the character has been languished and needs to be revitalized. It's also reported that he has been happy with the success of Joker and wants to make DC have a coherent strategy. So far, Zaslav has been looking at potential candidates to take on a new position of running DC as a whole. If the split were to happen, basically it'd be a position like Kevin Feige for Marvel Studios. I keep saying split, so you might be wondering what I mean. Well, right now DC films are produced and distributed by Warner Brothers, and that's it. Compare that to Marvel Studios, which is its own production company that produces films that Disney then distributes. The idea here is that DC would become its own part of the new company, produce its own content, films, TV, shows, that would then be distributed by either Warner Brothers or HBO, wherever it fits. I'm not sure how this will end up. Zaslav is right about how Superman has been wasted the past few years, and overall Warner Brothers' plan for DC has been messy at best. So if it branches out to be its own thing with some proper vision, that's great, and I think DC will be better for it. An exclusive from Deadline, AMC has bought some theaters from Bowtie Cinemas. The small theater chain operates out of the East Coast, and AMC has bought 7 theaters from them, located in New York, Connecticut, and Maryland. Those theaters will be shut down for the next 2 weeks, as AMC converts them into AMC theaters, with a plan for most of them to reopen by the end of April. Bowtie Cinemas will continue to operate its remaining theaters. How much this cost AMC was not made available. I don't know about Connecticut, but I do know that AMC does not have a presence in upstate New York, so at least for there, this gives them a small foothold. Also for employees, for the bought theaters, AMC has said that they plan on retaining all of them with no layoffs in the cards, which is nice to see. We start off VOD Premium with small news from HBO Max, which is just confirming when the Batman will be released on the service, which will now be April 18th, so by the time you're hearing this. Now to Netflix, where Deadline has the exclusive on this, and that is they have found a director for Beverly Hills Cop 4. It will now be directed by Mark Molly, however no production date has been set yet. The franchise moved from Paramount to Netflix back in 2019, however the film has been stuck getting off the ground since then. At this rate, it's likely to be a late 2023 film if they actually start production this year. Finally, Amazon has changed the name of their free streaming service again. IMDb TV has now been changed to Freevee. The change will go live April 27th, ahead of one of its headlining shows, Bosch Legacy, premiering in May. The name change is not terrible, but it's not great either. But the change itself is not surprising. I've said since last year that Amazon is getting serious about this, and if they're going to make a big push for it, then the service should not be called after a film website. They should get a new name. Amazon also mentioned that in the past year, IMDb TV grew 138%. So more and more people are trying it out. If they want to push it further, though, I think they need to do a huge marketing push for it, showcasing some of the content you can watch for free. Maybe they are waiting for some of the Universal films they made a deal for become available. And that'll be it for this week's episode of Box Office Receipts. Question for the episode is, what do you think Warner Brothers Discovery should do with DC? Let me know on Facebook. Link to the pages in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.